It's an Overwatch favorite here, so I'm excited to see what these teams have to offer as we get into the game. Now, while waiting to get into game, quick reminder of the format. This is a best of 2, which means we're going to play 2 maps. If you've got the most points at the end of it, you win the series, you move to the round of 8, and you still have a chance to get that $600 grand prize. It actually seems like we're going to be getting straight into the game now, and we're going to be starting here on Control Center. Excited to see what these teams want to bring out. We saw a lot of variation in that first match that we just had on stream. A lot of things that weren't just double shield and weren't just Reaper Doomfist, right? We saw some Junkrat, we saw some Pharah, we saw some McCree, even a little bit of the faded, the Mystic Genji that has eluded the meta for quite some time now. I doubt we'll be seeing any Genji here on Control Center as we head in. Probably going to be seeing that double shield, that Reaper, that Doomfist. It very much is favored, especially here in these tight corridors, in these enclosed spaces where the Doomfist can easily get onto your backline and the Reaper can take a lot of different angles, has a lot of different cover, can get around corners and keep himself alive. We do have we do seem to have a bit of a technical difficulty here, so we are going to be pausing ideally, as it doesn't seem like we actually have all the players on the correct teams for the moment, which is not ideal. But right now, you know, we're just gonna have some fun with what we're seeing, I suppose. Here we've got a wrecking ball down on the field as well as an Ash, so good to see that these guys are having a bit of fun with the tech problem real quick. And it seems like a blue team, or red team rather, as we can't really distinguish between the two at the moment, is going to be taking that first point. But this isn't for reals, guys. This is not serious here. We are going to be restarting this map ideally pretty soon. There we go. Let's head back to lobby. There we go. All right, now we're going to get those players swapped up, hopefully. But while we're going on here, I think I can take a little bit of time, talk about the players I do recognize in this series. The player I recognize most notably, actually, is going to be Fusha, is going to be an ASU player. I've seen this guy all around Tier 3 and Collegiate. An excellent, if I'm remembering correctly, excellent flex support there. His Ana, specifically, once upon a time, once upon a meta, was a force to be reckoned with here. See if we can get everything sorted as we move on in. There we go. We're gonna be back to lobby. All right, here we go, guys. Everything's getting sorted out. But yeah, Lijiang Tower too. Not really one of the best places for Ana, as I was kind of discussing. So I'd be surprised if we see any of that kind of Ana play coming out here from ASU once we get into the map. We're just going to get these players swapped over, get them on their proper sides so that we can get everything rolling here in our second match of the day. Going back to Lijiang Tower, though, while we have a little bit of a break, I figure I might as well ramble on about the state of Overwatch and the map we're going to be playing on. As I was kind of saying, probably going to be seeing a lot of that meta variation, but we've definitely seen some discrepancies in what teams bring out, specifically in the DPS, right? Because while Doomfist and Reaper, yes, are just the best for getting past the double shields we see going on in the meta right now, there are other options, right? The Pharah can find a lot of angles into those shields, especially if we head on to Garden, And you might even see a McCree to counter the Pharah, right? There's some counterplay to be considering here. And the chances that we start on Control Center are relatively low, right? And that's really the only map where we generally see just straight up that double shield Reaper Doomfist the majority of the time. It seems like we got the team sorted. Seems like we got everything on the right sides. And so we're going to be heading back into the match, back into Lijiang Tower. And it's not going to be Control Center to start off. It's actually going to be Night Market, which was where we started our last series. But we did see some variation here coming out from Clarkson right now. Not quite sure if Biola or ASU are going to opt into that same kind of creativity that we saw Clarkson try to employ. It wasn't especially effective for them. So I would ideally like to see more of a standard opening here. We get the two, well, I mean, obviously we're going to be getting 2-2-2, but we get the Doomfist, the Reaper, and the like. Does seem like, oh man, I'm just going to call the one player on ASU, I'm just going to call that one Numbers, the one that's currently on Doomfist, because I don't think I could say all of those numbers in order correctly every time quickly. So we're going to be getting into the match. We're going to be starting this one off. Interesting team compositions actually coming out from both sides as of right now. Neither team opting to play standard starting off. ASU actually opting for the Wrecking Ball, interestingly enough. Going to be a little bit difficult to play this into the Roadhog, but you do see the bubble going on to Hyperbonk, but Hyperbonk just kind of gets bonked off the side there. Not really bonked so much as just rolls off the side on his own. So now it's a 6v5 in favor of Biola as they try and push their way into this objective. They are going to, actually, they're not going to get the cap online first. And ASU, maintaining presence on the objective, have managed to completely stave off the advantage Biola had. They've rolled through this and they're getting percentage on the board now. Very interesting opening here from both sides, and it's going to be odd to see if Biola want to try and stick with this. They haven't had much success, and they're not having much success now. Death Rider going down immediately. Rails finding that one, and Hyperbonk stuffing Obsidian Fury. So this seems trivial for ASU at the moment. They're just going to keep holding on to this choke, even with the hook coming on to Numbers there. It does seem like ASU are maintaining presence, although they do lose Marisi. So it's not going to necessarily be as easy as it has been, but right now they're just completely flooring Biola right now. Ooh, the slap there onto Arcane Gam as well. ASU not looking like they're having much trouble with this one. There are ultimates coming online, though, for Biola University. They're nearly at that Riptire, and that gives them a lot of pick potential. They have to be careful. Ooh, Obsidian Fury gets split from the rest of Biola there. Not able to stay with the team. Gets disrupted by Hyperbonk. That's your main source of healing. Gone. Interestingly enough, it doesn't seem like Biola is quite done with this one. They're going to invest the Nano and try and push the Orisa on forward, but there's not much Free Hong Kong can really do right now. And he gets taken down as well. Already up to 95% here. ASU has looked completely unflabbergasted, and they are going to just completely lock out that first round of Lijiang Tower. So now we are going to be heading on to Control Center. And given that neither of these teams have played standard thus far, it's a complete mystery as to what they might bring out for this more enclosed space. The Junkrat from Death Rider, certainly a possibility to be sticking around. A lot of these choke points are very optimal for that spam damage that Death Rider can employ on the Junkrat. It seems like he wants to stick with it. Not much changing here for Biola University, but they are going to move Arcane Gam over to the Tracer. He's going to be matched by numbers from ASU, but the rest of these compositions largely different. And ASU, they're going for a bit of a cheeky strategy here. They're rotating all the way up. They want to get Rails set up on the high ground and dealing a ton of damage on this Bastion. Hook onto free Hong Kong there. And so much damage down onto the Orisa as well. Taking out both tanks. ASU maintaining their dominance in this series. That's the cap going online as well. If ASU can maintain this level of strength, this level of coordination, they can easily lock this map out with 200-0 rounds. There's a pulse bomb onto Shadowlight. Numbers doing it all right now on the Tracer. Taking them down. The 4-piece for the Tracer of ASU in that fight. Not looking up here for Biola University that much at the moment. ASU just dominating them with their mechanical skill. Numbers completely unthreatened, just going into the backline alone while the rest of his team pelts them in the choke point. This domination, Numbers does go off the map. Maybe not careful enough with the blinks there, but ASU still going to be able to hold swimmingly. Hyperbonk has the minefield online as well. The hook on to TNCO. The bio coming out from Fusha means that Roadhog could not take a breather, could not get that healing online as well. So just more flat out dominance coming from ASU right now. Even with a pull onto Hyperbonk, he's going to get out of there unfazed. And it's really starting to get toward that last fight territory here for Biola University. Right now, Numbers just sitting there. Nobody even sees the Tracer right now, while the rest of ASU just stays in the choke point. We're up to 86% here, ticking up to 90 for ASU. ASU looking like a force to be reckoned with in this map, in this match, possibly in this tournament. They're going to take 2 back-to-back 100-0 rounds on Lijiang Tower and close out the first map with a 1-0 lead. No surprise here. Numbers getting that play of the game. Excellent pulse bomb there. The stick coming through. And then he just runs through the rest of Biola as well. Excellent aim, excellent tracking. You can see the flick straight on to the head of the opposing Tracer there. So you really got to give it up for his mechanical skill. And honestly, ASU coming in here swinging hard in this first match. They are certainly a team to be contending with at the moment. And it's hard to say what the strategy might be here for Biola University going into the next map, because when you get 100-0 like that, when you lose pretty much every team fight, it's hard to see where your advantages can come through. It's hard to try and make those adaptations mid-match right now. So it's hard for them to decide probably what map they want to go to. It's going to be really difficult. Reminder, they can go to pretty much anywhere they'd like in the game of Overwatch. There is not a constricted map pool here. And I do have to correct myself. I apologize. It is Biola, not Biola. I don't know why I said Biola. It's Biola. So the more you know, I now know more. Does seem like we're going to be going to King's Row. So Biola taking a page rather out of the book that we saw in the last series. And King's Row, like I said, last series, very much an enclosed space, a lot of choke points to be taken advantage of, and you gotta kind of worry here for Biola, really. going into King's Row when we're talking about those choke points, right? Because you saw ASU, especially on Control Center, but also on Night Market, really just lock down all of those choke points once they got control of an objective, right? And should they maintain control of the payload, as it does seem ASU will be attacking first, they can just push their way on forward, keep someone back, keep them on cart duty, and try to force Biola into these enclosed spaces where the focus fire is indomitable. We are going to be heading on to King's Row now. Bit of a festive King's Row here. Always love to see the varied looks coming out. It's a little early for the Christmas vibes. Halloween's around the corner here, but we'll just call it the Nightmare Before Christmas, especially right now if you're Biola University, because reminder, Biola does have to win this map to keep themselves alive in this tournament. It's single elimination. It's best of 2. It's a 2-map set here. So Biola really going to have to come out swinging, going to have to turn the series around from their showing on Lijiang Tao. They're going to be starting on their defense. Seems like they're going to be keeping most of their composition the same, actually. And just continuing to swap up what it is that Arcane Gam is playing. So he's going to be on the Bastion this time. Interested to see where he's going to be setting up. Seems like just the back of the objective is a possibility, although with the shield placement from Free Hong Kong, maybe they just want to try and stuff ASU out of spawn. It's a bold gambit, but this is a rather long sightline, at least on one side of the bus. A clean rotation, though. One nice push, and this could all be over for Biola on point A at the very least. Biola has to be careful, too. A lot of long-range damage coming down. The Widow Pharah for ASU at the moment. Fasha finding the opening pick actually on the Pharah right now instead of a support. ASU swapping around their roles a bit, maybe just having a bit of fun with it. TNCO going down is going to spell the end of point A. ASU continuing their dominance, as we expect in this series. Ooh, the hook coming through as well. And now we get to see Marisi just gets to set up in this window, this high ground, this sight line, while the rest of ASU pushes forward and just controls the entire map right now. It's a bit of a scrappy non-fight happening all over the streets phase at the moment, but it's still ASU coming out on top. Oh, Numbers just walking into the sewer there with the whole hog. Throwing him into the walls, chewing him up, spitting him out. And we just have Reals on the Reinhardt right now, just sitting back on the cart, just chilling while he trusts the rest of his team to just roll over the respawns coming through here for Biola University. The Nano goes down onto Numbers as well. Biola have to be careful. Ooh, the barrage actually getting traded. Excellent concussion mine there from Death Rider to stop that barrage from making things worse. But it's still the same story coming in here. ASU still dominating. Not taking a break at all. The sound barrier, interesting timing from Obsidian Fury, but it does save him from the pull from Numbers that came out relatively shortly afterwards. But we've got a problem here for Biola. The card is already almost to the second objective, the second checkpoint here. And that's going to be 5 minutes, 40 seconds for ASU to try to roll through the end of this map. Right now, ASU investing everything. They just want to keep this dominance. They're just stuffing them at their spawn right now. This is brutal here. ASU not showing any mercy for Biola University. They're going to have Biola University going to have one last chance to try and make something happen here. The Nano coming down onto Free Hong Kong gives them a lot of survivability, but he doesn't really take the space with it that you would necessarily like to see. Bob into the backline does pick up Hyper Bonk here, so a good amount of healing gone for ASU. Could be an opening that they've been looking for, and Real's caught over on the side. Fusha trying to make up the deficit here, but actually ASU are losing players as they try and push their way in, but Fusha, Numbers, they're doing it all themselves. Numbers with the three-piece whole hog yet again. And it looked a little dicey there for ASU for the first time in this series, but just not dicey enough for Biola to manage to get a fight win on the board. They are now playing against a monumental time bank here from ASU to try and keep themselves alive in this tournament. And now it's simple for ASU as well. All they have to do is maintain control of the first point, or any other point on the map for that matter. If ASU holds anywhere, or even manages to just force Biola's time bank down to 0 seconds before they get third, if Biola could somehow get third, then ASU would win our 2-map set. They would win the match. And Biola, it's kind of back to the drawing board for them because this is their map pick, right? You expect them to maybe be a little bit more refined, more comfortable on their own map pick. But that being said, they have gone, or they chose King's Row, right? Which is not really a map that most Overwatch players would be called uncomfortable on, right? It's not very unorthodox. It's very much a map everyone in Overwatch likes. So, although it was their map pick, Biola, they didn't necessarily pick something that could throw off ASU, and now they're going to have to throw off ASU as they try to push on out here. Going to be switching it up a bit. TNCO off the Roadhog onto the Zarya instead. So they've decided they need a little bit more peel. They need a little bit more protection here for their front line, their back line. And TNCO is going to be able to pump out a lot of damage. Rael's actually getting very aggressive, pinning on in and not punished for it at all. The focus fire from Biola, not where it needs to be. Death Rider does get one. Hyper Bonk. Going to take a while for him to get back from spawn here, but Death Rider's not going to be able to stay alive very long after getting that pick. Rails maybe getting a little bit ahead of himself there. Pins toward the spawn of Biola University. So, again, that's a player advantage here for Biola. But they've had advantages before and struggled to convert on them. They do find Numbers all alone on the side, and one Roadhog versus the world is a rough spot. So, both tanks now down here for ASU. Rails is back in the fight, and Free Hong Kong down as well. Earthshatter catching one, and that's going to be more than enough for ASU to maintain control of the first objective. Freyhal's not going to get as aggressive as he was last time. He'll leave that up to Fusha for the moment. Nearly up at that barrage. Nano going on to Numbers. He's got the whole hog as well. Tons of damage going out. Arcane Gem down. Free Hong Kong following him into the grave. Even with the supercharger coming out here for Biola. They're not going to be able to make much of it. Wasn't necessarily optimally placed. Death Rider is above. Does manage to find the one kill onto Marissi, but still just not enough of an advantage here for Biola to push their way on forward. The tanks of ASU maintaining control of this choke point. Still forces to be reckoned with. The Nano does go down onto TNCO. So a lot of damage coming through. But it's hard to burn through the Transcendence coming out here from Moist. Death Rider trying to do it all himself right now, but actually losing the 1v1 against the Zenyatta. Moist coming up there. And we've got 1 minute 20 seconds left on the clock for Biola to try and make a dent in this point A. It's not over yet, though. Sound barrier online for Obsidian Fury. Pick coming out here for Death Rider, and Rayos falls as well. One player advantage is a 5v4 in favor of Biola University. ASU may be feeling themselves a bit too much here. Hyperbot gone as well. Fusha coming up with the goods, though. The 2K on the barrage might just be enough. Numbers trying to make up the deficit here that ASU is still working at. The clutch factor coming through. Numbers locking that one down. 30 seconds left. And ASU look just unstoppable on this defense. Real's going to try and take the 1v1 here against TNCO. Numbers helps him out there. Doesn't quite respect the 1v1 call coming through. But it hardly even matters here. Biola struggling. They've only got 10 seconds left. Somebody's going to have to get to the objective if they even want to try and stall this out. But nobody's there. Nobody's even making their way toward the point. Obsidian Fury's not going to get there as he gets clobbered. And ASU going to take a swift 2-0 in this series. Send themselves into the round of 8 comfortably. And they showed some insane dominance here. Role swapping. Hero swapping. Numbers on the Roadhog. Nice little hook there into the pit. And he's going to follow it up with the round-ending whole hog. So that will be series number 2 in the books. ASU going to be taking it, sending Biola out of the tournament, unfortunately. We've still got a few more matches coming up today. We're going to go to a quick break, but make sure you don't go anywhere.